One time, one devotee from Croatia, he asked one senior devotee who likes to joke a lot. He said, "Prabhu, are you going back to your hometown now?" And he said, "Prabhu, there's no going back. We're just going forward, moving forward. There's no going back." So that's one of the things that's also we can see from this. It's just counting down. So we can imagine that in this life, it's been scientifically proven, it's been described in the scriptures that our time in this lifetime is finite. It's not going to be infinite. And the Vedas, Krishna talks about this in the Bhagavad Gita also. There's living beings with very long lifetimes compared to us, like Brahma. The longest life that one can have in a particular universe is if one is born as a Brahma, the creator of the universe. And some figures are there, how long he lives, trillions of years. But it sounds astronomical, it sounds very great. But when you think about it, it's finite. And just as this event here, we have some time, we have maybe half an hour more or 45 minutes, I don't know. And then you can also think of it as a timer. When the timer runs out, we go out. We go our separate ways, and that's it. And whatever was happening here goes to the past, goes into, in one sense, materially speaking, if you just look at the externals, it goes into oblivion. It's not repeatable. Even if you come back again to the same place, to another class, another gathering, it's not going to be the same event as this here. This here will be gone. It's over. It's finished. And in the same way, Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita that basically, in one sense, those things which are real, which exist, they are infinite, they are eternal. And those things which are not eternal, they basically don't exist, because it's just a matter of time before this timer runs out or any other timer, and it's gone forever. It's non-repeatable. It's just one experience in this pool of infinite time, which is gone. And as Srimad Bhagavatam says, that so many kingdoms and empires have risen and gone, disappeared. And what's left at the end is just a list of names, list of kings, list of presidents, vice presidents, or other important people that lived at some particular time. So, Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he writes in one of his purports to the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that this is actually a very important point, that the Vedas encourage us to seek self-realization just on the basis of this point. This one point is enough. The non-existence of the material body is enough. Should be enough for a person to inquire, okay, so what's beyond this? Is there something which is beyond this? And Krishna says it is. There is something. As it said, na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha. Ubhayorapi drishtontas. That those things which the seers of the truth have concluded, that those things which are existing, actually they are eternal, and those things which are not eternal basically don't exist. So in one sense, we could say that materially speaking, no matter how much time we have in life, it's insufficient. It's basically, it's not zero, but it might as well be zero, because it will just come and go. The time will pass, and I got a visa for India for 6 months, and when that 6 months runs out, I have to go out. Actually, I have to go out before that. I have to go out after 90 days, at least for one day, probably to Nepal. We will see. Somewhere we have to get out so that we can enter again. So, yeah, so materially speaking, no matter how much time we have, it's insufficient, because at one point in time it will be over, and then, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, when one leaves this body, when this body becomes useless, then one takes up another body. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir hiras tatra namuhyati. That as the embodied soul passes in this life, from boyhood, youth, boyhood to old age, similarly the soul passes to another body at death. And one who is self-realized, one who actually knows things as they are, that person is not bewildered by such a change, because they know already death is certain. It's born along with the body. Everyone who was born has to die, and everyone who dies has to be born again. That's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, which is pretty logical. If you have a spirit soul which is eternal, then if this vehicle is destroyed, you get another vehicle, and that's it. We move on. So yeah, the Vedas encourage us, Krishna encourages us, instead of driving on this roller coaster up and down all the time, being born, then dying, leaving, going somewhere else. And actually, it is said in the Bhagavatam in one verse, a person who does not know about the real self and who does not know how the laws of the universe work, they cannot know where their actions will take them. It's basically people, all living entities, people alike, they don't know where they will end up. So basically they're playing a game of dice. And in a similar way, if we don't focus our life on something which is eternal, then basically what we're doing is we're playing dice. We're gambling with our own life, which is, we don't know where we will end up. And some people say you cannot take anything with you. When this life is over, your money is gone, everything is gone, you don't take anything with you. But that's wrong. You take something with you. We take our karmic reactions. We take our karmas with us. We take our everything good or bad that we did, we take it with us. And usually people like to be rewarded for the good things that they did, and they don't like to be punished for the bad things that they did, but they both go with us. And what happens again? We end up in some body and we have a timer like this, something similar, maybe bigger, maybe smaller, but it's ticking. Correct. Thank you very much. This is 100 years. This is basically, it looks much, but it looks like a lot, but it's basically just 100 years. Why 100 years? Because it's said in the Shastra that that's like the maximum duration, or maximum, you could say, duration of life in this age of Kali. People live up to 100 years. Some people live a little bit longer, but it's very rare. Usually people live less. And I'm not sure what the average age, what the maximum, in average, what the maximum age is in India, in Europe. I think it's much less than 100, actually. People live shorter lives than 100. So that's actually, we don't have this much time. Right now, we don't have this much time. We have less. And even if it were 100 years, I'm 35 years old in this body. So it's basically 35% from this is gone already. It's just like this, out the window. And so time passes very quickly. And therefore, we are encouraged again and again. Srila Prabhupada writes the same point in many different ways in his purports, that while one has this human form of life, which is temporary like any other, again, the same thing, the time is there, it's ticking down, but it has one special benefit compared to all other forms of life, that one can inquire about something higher. One can pursue the life of self-realization. One can pursue spiritual life. And then something else happens. So maybe now we can turn off the timer and put up something more cheerful. And that's basically a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So now, should I just read or should we read like I can read? Okay. Ayurharati Vaipungsam Udyanastam Chayanasau Tasyarte Yat Kshanonita Uttama Vartaya. Both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This verse indirectly confirms the greater importance of utilizing the human form of life to realize our lost relationship with the Supreme Lord by acceleration of devotional service. Time and tide wait for no man, so the time indicated by the sunrise and the sunset will be uselessly wasted if such time is not properly utilized for realizing identification of spiritual values. Even a fraction of the duration of life wasted cannot be compensated by any amount of gold. Human life is simply awarded to a living entity, Jiva, so that he can realize his spiritual identity and his permanent source of happiness. A living being, especially the human being, is seeking happiness because happiness is the natural situation of the living entity. But he is vainly seeking happiness in the material atmosphere. A living being is constitutionally a spark, a spiritual spark of the complete whole, and his happiness can be perfectly perceived in spiritual activities. The Lord is the complete spirit whole, and his name, form, quality, pastimes, entourage, and personality are all identical with him. Once a person comes into contact with any of the above-mentioned energies of the Lord through the proper channel of devotional service, the door to perfection is immediately opened. In the Bhagavad Gita 2:40, the Lord has explained such contact in the following words. Endeavors in devotional service are never baffled, nor is there failure. A slight beginning of such activities is sufficient even to deliver a person from the great ocean of material fears. A highly potent drug injected intravenously acts at once on the whole body. The transcendental topics of the Lord injected through the ear by the pure devotee of the Lord can act very efficiently. Oral realization of the transcendental messages implies total realization, just as fructification of one part of a tree implies fructification of all other parts. This realization for a moment in the association of pure devotees like Shukadev Goswami prepares one's complete life for eternity. And thus the sun fails to rob the pure devotee of his duration of life. Inasmuch as he is constantly busy in the devotional service of the Lord, purifying his existence, death is a symptom of the material infection of the eternal living being. Only due to material infection is the eternal living entity subjected to the law of birth, death, old age, and disease. The materialistic way of pious activities like charities recommended in the Smriti Shastras, as quoted by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, money given in charity to a suitable person is guaranteed bank balance in the next life. Such charity is recommended to be given to a Brahmana. If money is given in charity to a non-Brahmana without Brahminical qualification, the money is returned in the next life in the same proportion. If it is given in charity to a half-educated Brahmana, even then the money is returned double. If the money is given in charity to a learned and fully qualified Brahmana, the money is returned 100,000 times. And if the money is given to a Veda Paraga, one who has factually realized the path of the Vedas, it is returned by unlimited multiplication. The ultimate end of Vedic knowledge is realization of the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyaha. There is a guarantee of monies being returned if given in charity, regardless of the proportion. Similarly, a moment passed in this association of a pure devotee by hearing and chanting the transcendental messages of the Lord is a perfect guarantee for eternal life, for returning home back to Godhead. Madhyama gatva punarjanma na vidyate. In other words, a devotee of the Lord is guaranteed eternal life. A devotee's old age or disease in the present life is but an impetus to such guaranteed eternal life. And one more time, verse Ayurharati Vaipungsam Udyan Astam Chayan Asau Tasyarte Yat Kshanonita Uttamashloka Vartaya. Both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. So, materially speaking, we have some time, but it will never be enough. Whatever we decide to do materially, at the end it's taken away. And spiritually spoken, as Srila Prabhupada quotes this verse 240 from the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, even a slight endeavor in this regard, if one even slightly endeavors in the matter of Buddhi Yoga, or as we say, devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one is saved 100% from the greatest fear. And what is that greatest fear? Srila Prabhupada explains, after we get this human form of life, gliding back to animal life, which is possible. As it said, animal life is meant for other things, for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. It's summarized in these categories. And basically that's what most of the world is doing today: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and some sub-variations of that. So if one is doing only that, then human life is basically not necessary, because there's animals can totally beat humans in all of these activities. Sleeping, I don't know how many you have here, but around here, but bears, for example, bears can sleep for a very long time. Then mating, sometimes pigeons are given as an example, sometimes monkeys. They have a lot of energy for that, and human beings just cannot replicate that. If they try, I know some people who try, they just get drained completely. Their bodily energy just evaporates. And I heard there's some medical cases documented of even people dying because of that, because of overdoing in that department. Eating, there's animals who can eat much more than human beings. A hog is sometimes given as an example. It can eat literally anything. A hog or an elephant, it can eat so much. And defense, cobra or mongoose maybe. I saw some devotees sent me a video. A mongoose beat the cobra. But it was so fast, the motions were so fast. We cannot compete with that, the cobra or the mongoose. Or in Croatia, we have one spider, it's called the black widow. Black widow, maybe we have it here also. It's just small spider, one sting, and a grown human being can die very easily if the antidote is not administered. So basically, the animals have it. The animals excel in all these activities, and the human being is meant for something else, for seeking something higher. And if the human being does not seek something higher, then the material nature responds by giving us the appropriate body for that which we want. If we want to eat, there's animals that can eat nicely, much better than human beings. And similarly, all the other activities. So therefore, we are encouraged again and again to take up seriously this life of devotional service. And here there's great facility for that. There's this very nice temple, which was personally established by Srila Prabhupada, who spent time here. And it's a great facility to engage in devotional service, to engage in, as this verse from the Bhagavatam says, in hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam is the main book that we have for that, for hearing and glorifying about the Lord and His pure devotees. So yeah, that there's great opportunity for that here. And no matter how much we are doing it now, there's one thing that we can always do, is we can increase. We can go a step forward. And that's how I came here. Basically, I never thought I would join the ashram. At first, when I came in contact with this knowledge, my parents were really scared. We went for Nagar Sankirtan. We were chanting in the street. I joined the devotees, and my mother saw me. The very first time that I went, my mother saw me there. And when I came home, we had a huge discussion. They asked, "Son, what are you looking for so far away?" "What do you mean far away? I was just here on the main square, in the town." "How far away?" No, but this is from far, far away. Why not something closer, So they were very much scared. And I thought, okay, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I just tried a little bit and then try something else. But that just by reading these books and by practicing, it's so nice, so sublime that you just cannot stop. And as devotees say often, Krishna tricks us. He says, come a little bit closer, and and now a little bit closer, now a little bit closer, and then before you know it, you shave your head, you change your dress, and you're in ISKCON Juhu, like me now, for example, which was, I joined 10 years ago, and this was totally unimaginable for me. And the first time that I saw devotees were showing, videos of book distribution, and I was looking at that at some festival in Croatia. And when I saw the devotees are actually doing that, I said, no way, not in a million years, not me. I mean, I'm not a person to, try to go out and find people and try to inspire them to take something which they definitely do not want to take. I'm the last person for that. I'm more like, okay, if somebody asks me, I will tell them. But, for me to go out and present something on my own accord, no way. But, it was the same story. It's just, come a little bit closer, and before you know it, you're doing it for years, and you still cannot stop. Because even though it sometimes is like, tapasya, sometimes it's difficult. But this bliss that one experiences by forgetting, at least for some time, forgetting about one's own material ideas, one's own material plans and agendas, and just trying to help others do this, help others hear and chant about the Lord and His devotees. It brings so much bliss and so much joy that for a moment you can experience that state of eternal existence. Na shochati, na kankshati. No hankering, no lamentation, just bliss. And that's basically spiritual life, the state of being eternally in the present moment. And that's the only thing that we have. That's sometimes misused by some New Age approaches. People talk about this present moment, be in the present moment. Yes, but how will we be in the present moment? Because just being in the present will also pass. If we stay on the material plane, as we said, timer runs out, finished. Present moment, darkness. Then we get born again. But for one who develops this devotional service, this love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then, as it is explained, one lives eternally with the Lord. At every moment, one is happy, na shochati, na kankshati. And when one changes one's situation, one's body, one just goes to another location, somewhere else, to serve the same Supreme Lord in love and in bliss. whether it's Vaikuntha, whether it's some other place in the spiritual world, or whether we come to another place in the material world to serve Krishna, it's all bliss. And as it is said, materially speaking, material life, it will always be, eventually it will end up being miserable. That's just the end result of all material life. It ends sadly, unfortunately. So, yeah, therefore, I'm speaking primarily to myself. I use this opportunity, when you say something to others, basically, we are the first person that should hear it, that devotional service is the only, pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord is the only solution. And I'm trying to encourage myself and others, you also, to, at whatever stage we have taken it up, go a step further. There's always more that we can do. There's always deeper that we can go. Some devotee one time he asked me, you're really doing a lot of service. You must love Krishna very much. And I said, no, I'm doing a lot of service because I realized I don't love Krishna. I love so many other things. I love so many other material things. And if I'm not really serious to do something about it, then I will go away. It will die down. So therefore, yeah, this is a great opportunity to think about that, how we can increase our practice, devotional practice, read more, hear and chant more, serve more, do some more service, do something which we ordinarily would not do. Like I wasn't in India for 10 years. I was last time in India 10 years ago, and then this time, when my spiritual master told me, yeah, you should go a little bit, spend some time, then come back, I realized that my passport expired. And I made my passport last time specifically for going to India. So I know 10 years has passed. The passport expired. Now I have to make a new passport. And I didn't go for a long time, and I was really not sure, I don't know, should I go or not? But he said, go. And I went, and it's been a very wonderful journey so far. I experienced so many nice things in terms of, you get out of your comfort zone, do something for Krishna which ordinarily you would not do, and then you get a big reward beyond your expectations. We can imagine, I would be happy if I get this, I would be happy if I get that. But the best solution is if we stop planning for our own happiness. As Srila Prabhupada once said in this, I like that lecture very much. He was giving a talk on the nectar of devotion, and then he said, he told this story about Dhruva Maharaj, who asked the Lord for a great benediction. He said, I want to be the greatest. I want to have a kingdom greater than my father, than my grandfather. He basically wants to be greater than Brahma, which is, materially speaking, it's impossible. And Prabhupada said, but the Lord gave him such a position. He got Dhruva Loka, which is even higher than Brahma Loka. And he said, this is, the father knows the need of the child. And if we just surrender to the Father, then all of our needs are taken care of, beyond our expectations. And if we rely on our own strength, then it's something else. It's not really so satisfying. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, that materially speaking, we may have this much time or that much time, but however much time we have, it will not be enough for material fulfillment. And spiritually speaking, if we do our best to advance in devotional, pure devotional service, then whatever time that we give into that will surely not be wasted. And sooner or later, we can actually come to this point of actually living an eternal life of eternal happiness. So, thank thank you very much for the time that you invested here. Are there any questions, perhaps, or yes?
What changes do you see when you came back last 10 years ago and now? Do you see in the ISKCON?
Well, one thing is that we are visiting different places. Last time we only went to Delhi, Vrindavan, and Mayapur. And this time we actually landed in the south. We came to Salem, Tamil Nadu. Then now we're in Mumbai. Then hopefully, if Krishna so desires and allows, we will go to Vrindavan, to Bhopal, to Mayapur, then Jagannath Puri, and we'll make a circle, hopefully, and come back to Salem, and then we have to go back to Europe. And so it's a little bit difficult for me to speak about the changes because I've not witnessed all the changes yet. Basically, I'm visiting different places. But one thing that I do notice is it's maybe an insignificant thing that technologically it's easier to go around. We have some things that we didn't have before in terms of technology. But one thing that's true everywhere, as far as I've seen, that people are becoming more and more uninterested in spiritual life everywhere. And where I come from, people are really advanced in that. They're really advanced in not being interested in any form of spiritual life, and especially the newer generations, which due to their upbringing are becoming more and more, socially unintegrated, like more selfish. And you may believe it or not, but there is a trend in Europe in the schools. Teachers are complaining that first grade students in elementary school are coming to the school to first grade and still they have to wear diapers. They cannot perform the basic needs of the body. And this is the direction in which this material civilization is slowly advancing, because people, there's this direction in which the world is going. People are being kept under a shield, shielded from the environment, shielded from everything, provided everything. There's no scarcity. Anything you want, you can get at a moment's notice. So people lose their independence. They cannot think independently so much. They cannot act independently. There's this problem that people are committing various, terrible things due to dependence, over dependence on artificial intelligence, like ChatGPT. ChatGPT becomes the best friend. ChatGPT becomes the doctor. ChatGPT becomes the psychiatrist. And then you start talking to it as your friend, and it convinces you, I'm your friend, you can tell me everything. And then a person opens up, says they have suicidal thoughts. Maybe I should tell someone, no. You can tell me, I understand you, don't tell the others. And then you get a court case. A person committed suicide because ChatGPT explained the most efficient way how to commit suicide. It gave really good advice. So yeah, this is basically what Prahlad Maharaj says also in the Bhagavatam, that the material solutions to material problems, they just create another set of material problems. And one ends up being in a worse situation than before. So that's something which can be observed everywhere. Also in India, I'm seeing some traces of that, even though it's less, because this culture is much more, this spiritual culture is much more present here than in other places. But it is going in that direction, and the signs are really not so auspicious. So that's what I can say.
One last thing. Though we know that we have a limited time, but still we are in the past or in the thoughts that what we did wrong, what can be doable right in the past. How to overcome that?
Oh, you mean how to overcome dwelling in the past, trying to change the past, or dwelling on what did I do wrong? Yeah.
Because as we connected to the time that we have limited time, but we always forget that like we think that we have more time, and that's why we are just wasting it. How to not waste it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. How not to waste time. And materially speaking, probably you could get some answers by talking to, psychologists or maybe even psychiatrists. How to avoid, or maybe some life coach, some motivational speaker. But material, so again, it's a material solution for a material problem. And for some people, it may work to some extent, but it's not the solution. It's not the ultimate solution. Because at the end, one remains in the material platform. So basically, what is being advised throughout, if you read Srila Prabhupada's books, throughout his books, that the only solution is actually a spiritual solution. And that is positive engagement. Positive engagement in spiritual life means, as we said, hearing, chanting, engaging in devotional service, trying to become a serious practitioner of that, which means, okay, we understand we are far away from the goal, but we want to advance and therefore we are willing to take proper steps. So at whatever level we are now, we just try to increase. There's a lot of guidance which is available. It is also enjoined in the Shastra that we should take advice, instruction actually, from the spiritual master. And before we do that, there's those who have been practicing for a longer time, senior devotees, we can take instruction from them, we can take guidance from them, how to increase our devotional practice. So at whatever level it is now, how to increase. And as we do that, we notice that it becomes easier and easier to focus on what's really important, to focus on spiritual life, and we stop wasting time in so many other unproductive ways. So that is actually the real solution. And the other solutions, material solutions, coaching, counseling, it's the effectiveness of that is very, very, very limited. I mean, I'm not saying that it's completely useless. In some cases, it may help to some extent, but that's not the ultimate solution. The ultimate solution is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and so on. So I also have experience in my life with that to some extent, as much as I'm trying to practice. It becomes easier to focus on what's really important and to filter out things that are distractions. And when you occupy yourself increasingly more and more with something, then the intelligence wakes up. And also Krishna gives the intelligence. Tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti. To those who are constantly engaged, then Krishna gives the intelligence. And one can say, okay, this I don't need, this I don't need. So it goes like that. Positive engagement is the best. Anything else? Some questions or comments maybe? I don't know if you have a section for comments. Yes, Prabhu.
Ask one question. There is there are devotees who are watching online. Their question is now they are doing their responsibilities. They are taking care of their family also. How they will balance this spiritual life? Because we said that constantly we have to engage in devotional service. Then how do they balance their life, doing their responsibilities also and completing their devotional service?
Yeah, that's the big question of balance. Yeah, especially in the modern world, it's not easy to balance things. The great world outside usually works as a press. It just compresses you. and you have practically no time left for anything else. You're just racing against time. So, in general, what Srila Prabhupada advised is to, that's one of the reasons why Srila Prabhupada tried to establish simple living and high thinking, which is it's a huge topic in today's world, so that devotees have more time. But in the meantime, we have to do something until this is established, then we have to do something. And I think that that's something which is best done individually, by individual counseling, because each person is an individual and they need to be basically treated as an individual. And the general advice is there that we should seek association of senior devotees who can understand their position, who are also perhaps in a family situation, but they're performing their devotional service nicely. So we can take guidance from them. We can ask them, do you have any advice for me? And for renunciates, maybe in some cases they can also give good advice. But I know, for example, my spiritual master, when he was asked many times for some advice by devotees who are married, he said, it's best if you ask such and such devotee. He's a senior disciple. He's a grihasta. He can direct you better because he knows what are the actual challenges. He knows, he has been dealing with that successfully for many years. So you can ask them. So that's always a good thing to do, to individually seek guidance from those who are good, who are advanced in devotional service and who are in a similar position like we are, who have similar responsibilities. And yeah, that's what I can say about that. Anything else? Yes. How come I got interested in distributing books? Just by reading about it many times from Srila Prabhupada, that he emphasized that very much. He liked it very much. He considered it to be a very important part of his mission. And by seeing senior book distributors doing their magic and experiencing this bliss of sharing Krishna consciousness with others. So all that put together, then I decided that, okay, I have to try, at least I have to try. And when I experienced it myself for the first time, then I just realized, okay, this is very dear to Srila Prabhupada, and at least for his satisfaction, I want to do it. I don't consider myself a big book distributor. I think I definitely am not. I don't do a lot of books. In some phases I did, but it's going, a little bit up, a little bit down. But we can do something. We can do our part, and we can experience the reciprocation of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna by doing so. So that's how I got into it, by hearing and reading from Srila Prabhupada that he appreciated it very much, that he considered to be important. And then I said, okay, if Srila Prabhupada considers it important, then at least I can do is try. I can at least try my best. And as one good, very big book distributor says, maybe you know him, he's becoming famous, Mahotsaha Prabhu. It's not what you say, it's what you pray. What you pray. You just pray to Krishna and he will help you. And I experienced that so many times. You don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, but somehow, by Krishna's mercy, you do the right things and you say the right things and people take books. So, yeah, Hare Krishna. Anything else? Jai, thank you very much for the time that you gave, and all the best in devotional service. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. So we will thanks Prabhuji for giving a very wonderful session for us, and I hope that every one of us has understood that how much time is left with us. Okay, so we'll thank His Grace Markandeya Risi Pr by loudly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So everyone please be seated. Now drama will be there, and after that we will give Kirtan. Hare Krishna. Small drama team is present. They will present some drama. Okay, we can sit in the audience.
ये पकड़ो माइक पूछे मुझसे मेरे भैया का मैं पूछूंगा तो भैया का
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Today we are going to give you a wonderful story on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Kindly fasten your seatbelts and just look at this masterpiece. Hey Dhunduli,
Yes, my husband.
I think I'm very much depressed.
What's it?
Look how old we are. We are 45 years old. I'm a Brahman of this whole community. And look at us. We don't even have one child.
That problem.
That problem, it is funny to you. We have been old. Who will help us in our old age?
Why do you want a child?
What? Why do you want a child?
Yes.
You are talking like this. I think so. You are the problem.
I am the problem.
Yes, you
I
are
am the problem. I am the problem. It must be your past sinful activities because of which we are not begetting a child in the first place. Or your organ might not be working. It's not my fault. How can you say this? Get lost, get away from it. Don't talk to me.
In my own home. Now I'm going to show. I'm tell you one thing. The Brahman Atmadev was trying to beget a child. He was a pure Brahman, but they were not able to do this service to his whole family. Seeing this, he took a decision and he went to Tungabhadra river. Enough is enough. My lord, enough is enough. From how many times? The same thing. Now my wife is also taunting me. There is only one thing to do. I will go to Tungabhadra river and I'll dive into it. Enough is enough now.
Wait. Atmadev, what are you doing? Why are you committing suicide?
Suicide? I'm not committing suicide. What's done is done. Look at my family. I have no one except the wife, and she's also not ready to have a child. Just who will help us in our old age? And I'm fed up of this. Please.
What's your age now?
I'm old now. I'm 45 years old.
You're 45 years old and you want a child at this age. It's time to renunciation. Sooner you will going to be 50.
I know all of that.
And it's like it's quite a little bit good thing that you don't have child, you don't have that attachment. You will easily get free from that.
I know, but this will not work.